Hello guys! Today I am going to explain a 2011 romance comedy movie named Bad Teacher. So let's begin in the movies. We are shown to a lady named Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a huge gold digger, and she also does the job of teacher, but she does not like this work at all, and she wants to be rich by marrying a rich boy. Elizabeth was also doing a rich boy date, and Elizabeth is going to marry early with him. That's why she leaves his teacher's job after this. All the school teachers give him farewell, and Elizabeth goes to meet her boyfriend. The boyfriend of Elizabeth at home happens with his mother here. Elizabeth's boyfriend has packed Elizabeth's belongings. The mother of Elizabeth, proof the boyfriend of Elizabeth, that Elizabeth does not love him. She is just getting married for his money. Elizabeth tells all this to her boyfriend. There is no such thing. I love you a lot. Then when his mother asks about birthday of his boyfriend from Elizabeth, so Elizabeth does not even remember his boyfriend's birthday seeing. This, Elizabeth's boyfriend gets angry and then breaks up and removes Elizabeth from home. Now the plan to marry Elizabeth's rich boy was also ruined, and then 3 months later, all the money ends she has to start a teacher's job again in the same school. As soon as the school, Elizabeth met a second teacher named Amy. Amy tries to talk to Elizabeth well, but Elizabeth does not talk to her well, and this thing seems very bad to Amy. Then Elizabeth meets another teacher who is her best friend at school, and then she tells him that she will soon find a rich boy and marry him, and leave this teacher job. That same night, Elizabeth goes to a bar so that she can find a rich boy there. Then a boy comes there, and then Elizabeth starts flirting with him and also tries to seduce him. But as soon as she finds out that boy is not rich, so Elizabeth drives him away that night. She does not find any rich man, and then she goes home, disappointed, and goes to sleep. That night, she does not even sleep well and does not get enough sleep. Then Elizabeth goes to school, so she feels very lazy and she gets a lot of sleep too. That's why she turns on the TV in class and asks the students to watch TV, and she falls asleep in the class itself. Now Elizabeth goes to the canteen on lunch break. Then there comes Russell, the school's gym teacher. Russell likes Elizabeth a long time ago, but because she is a teacher, and he doesn't have much money, that's why Elizabeth doesn't value him. Then, when Elizabeth walks out of the canteen, then she has seen a handsome teacher, and that teacher's name is Scott. Scott is wearing a very expensive watch. Seeing whom, Elizabeth understands that Scott is very rich, then meets Elizabeth Scott. So he finds out that Scott has come to teach at the school for a while, but he is not getting class. Elizabeth talks to him. Then she learns that Scott is single, and Scott shows his ex-girlfriend's photo. To Elizabeth, Scott's ex-girlfriend was very beautiful, and seeing her figure, Elizabeth decides when she goes to the doctor to get her breast implant done to impress Scott. The doctors tell her that this surgery will cost him a total of $9,000. Hearing this, Elizabeth gets shocked because she did not have that much money. But in spite of this, she does not give up, and she calls all her friends and asks for a loan. All of Elizabeth's friends knew everything about her. That's why no one lends to Elizabeth the next day. The student tells Elizabeth in class that the 7th class team is getting the car wash done this weekend, and last time these students earned $6,000 by washing cars. Hearing this, Elizabeth gets shocked, and she sees an opportunity to get his breast implanted. Elizabeth decides that this time she will lead the car wash team, but that student tells her that this will not happen, because like every year this year, also Amy is leading the team. Elizabeth then goes to the principal to get Amy out of her way, and by seducing principal, with her words, she herself becomes the leader of the car wash team. Then, when car wash day comes, so that day, Elizabeth comes wearing very short clothes, which many men get seduced and many people come to the car wash. Elizabeth earns a lot of money from this car wash, but she steals some of this money and keeps it with her. But Amy sees while doing this, and then complains about it to the principal as well. But because they do not have any evidence to prove this point, that's why the principal doesn't take Amy's words seriously. After this, Amy gets very angry with Elizabeth. And then when Elizabeth is talking to Scott, so Amy comes over there and to deliberately insult Elizabeth, she tells Scott about Elizabeth's surgery. But Scott appreciates Elizabeth, and here Amy's plan fails. Then slowly, everything starts to go well. In Elizabeth's life, parents give some money to Elizabeth at school so that she can take good care of her child. Elizabeth saves her money to get her breast implants done. Once again, Scott tells Elizabeth at the school's winter party that he likes Amy. Hearing this, Elizabeth completely breaks down, and she feels bad after this. Elizabeth meets Russell, the school's gym teacher, and the two talk for a long time, and a good bonding is also formed between both of them. A few days later in winter vacation, the parents of one of Elizabeth's students invite Elizabeth to their home for dinner. The name of this student is Garrett. Garrett tells everyone that he likes Rosie, the most beautiful girl in the school, and he tells them that he is about to propose her, for which Garrett has also written a poem. Knowing this, Elizabeth privately tells Garrett that Rosie is never going to impress you. Elizabeth was also the hottest girl in her school, and she knew no girl would want to date a guy like Garrett. Then a few days later, Scott meets Elizabeth at school, and then he invites her to his bar parties at night. Elizabeth goes to the bar party. Russell also comes to this party. And then Scott starts singing at this party. And while singing the song, he proposes to Amy. Amy gets very emotional seeing all this. And on the other hand, Elizabeth gets very angry after seeing all this. And then she leaves the party with her friend. And then Elizabeth's friend tells her inside the car that there is going to be a test in the school in which whichever teacher student will bring better marks, that teacher will get a reward of $5,700. Hearing this, Elizabeth again sees an opportunity to raise money for surgery. Now the next day, she goes to her class and now she starts teaching all the students strictly so that the student of his class can come on top and she can get money in reward. During this time, the friendship between Russell and Elizabeth also starts getting very good. And on the other hand, Amy and Scott start dating now. But because Elizabeth did not teach the student the whole year, so she soon gets to realize it that none of his students will be able to talk. Knowing this, Elizabeth does not give up, and she makes a plan to get her student to the top. Then, Elizabeth changes her appearance, and then she becomes a news reporter and meets the professor who got the test done meeting. That professor Elizabeth seduces him, and he takes Elizabeth to his office here. Elizabeth mixes some drugs in that professor's drink. The professor faints after drinking it. And then Elizabeth steals the answer sheet of that test now. After a month, those exams are held, and Elizabeth's student tops the exam. And then Elizabeth gets a reward of $5,700. Elizabeth is very happy seeing this because now she will be able to get her surgery done. But on the other hand, Amy is very sad because she didn't win $5,700. Then after a few days, the students are going to be taken on a trip. So Elizabeth wants Amy not to go on this trip with Scott. That's why Elizabeth mixes something in Amy's apple. Then, as soon as Amy eats the apple, so there is a reaction on his face, because of which Amy could not go. Then, when Amy sees Elizabeth going on a trip with Scott, so Amy gets very angry. Then Amy comes to school, and being angry with Elizabeth puts Elizabeth's desk in her class and puts her desk in Elizabeth's class. After this, Amy breaks the lock of Elizabeth's desk as her own. After that, she checks. Then she gets the answer sheet of the test here. Whoever sees will understand that's how Elizabeth's student topped. Then, Amy takes the answer sheet and goes to the principal and tells her everything. The principal gets angry knowing all this, and the principal says to Amy that in order to get Elizabeth punished, we would need the statement of the professor in charge of that test. Then Amy goes to the professor and intimidates her and prepares her to testify here during the trip. Elizabeth Scott does the menu plate, and then both pretend to be intimate, whose news Elizabeth gives to Amy so that she can get Amy and Scott to break up when Amy comes to know about it. So she becomes very fond of it. Then the next morning, Elizabeth's student Garrett proposes to his crush. So her crush refuses him and insults Garrett in front of everyone seeing the Garrett. Elizabeth realizes that she is also doing something similar to Russell. Actually, Russell loves her so much, but she always ignores him. Then Elizabeth decides to help Garrett. And then she gives her bra to Garrett. Then Elizabeth tells everyone that she has caught Garrett getting intimate with a senior girl. Then Garrett also shows Elizabeth's given bra. And seeing this, everyone believes in Garrett, and they think Elizabeth isn't lying, and all the students become fans of Garrett. During this, Amy also reaches that place and tells Elizabeth that I know everything. That's how you stole the answer sheets of the test. But Elizabeth had shown the photos to be sent to that professor's house and blackmails that professor by showing those photos. Actually, these photos were taken by Elizabeth. Then, when the professor was drunk. Now seeing those photos that professor refuses to testify here at school, Elizabeth gets to know that Amy has exchanged her desk. Elizabeth knew that she kept drugs inside her desk, the desk that is currently in Amy's class. Then Elizabeth complains to the principal. If Amy takes drugs in school, then the police gets raided in the school, and drugs come out of Amy's desk. Seeing what Elizabeth had kept there, the police arrests. Amy tries to tell everyone that this desk is not his but Elizabeth's, but no one believes his words. And then after this incident, Amy is also expelled from the school. After everything is over, Elizabeth meets Russell and she accepts his proposal, and then the two start dating. And then this is where the movie ends. I hope you enjoyed the video. So click any video of 3 of them and enjoy. Next, please don't forget to subscribe our channel and please like the video. And tell us in the comment how you liked the video. I see you soon.